Hey y'all, guess what? The chefs at Buckingham Palace have released the carrot cake recipe that they make for the Queen's afternoon tea. So if it's good enough for the Queen of England, I decided I have to put this carrot cake recipe to the test. This is how I made it. Okay, let's get started on this Queen's cake. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. I have the recipe pulled up on my phone. From first glance at the recipe, it is all mostly in the metric system that I barely work with. A lot of the ingredients are very British. This is written in like England English. Here are the ingredients. We're gonna start with 2 small free-range eggs. So I don't have free range, but I do have cage-free. And then 105 grams of dark brown sugar. So I have out my trusty kitchen scale. The one good thing that I love about metric system, you don't have to scoop things in like a cup measure, so you just weigh it. It's so much easier. In my recipe, it says to preheat my oven to 170 degrees Celsius or 325 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's at 325 degrees. Then we are going to prepare the cake tin, which is a 7-inch cake tin, by greasing with butter and lining the bottom and sides with baking paper, AKA parchment paper. So I'm gonna get some butter. I'm gonna grease this up. And then I'm just gonna do the bottom with the paper because I think that's all that we really need. A lot of butter, I got it. Oh. It's totally fine. Don't worry, I can't use that anymore. That's sick. I've located my parchment paper, so now we're gonna talk about how to make a cartouche, which is the fancy French word for a round piece of parchment paper. So you have your sheet of parchment paper, which is about the size of a baking sheet. We are going to fold it in half, hot hamburger ways, and then again in half, like this, so that we have folded our sheet into quarters. I will open it up to show you. It is divided and it looks like a window. You see that? This is the very center of the piece of parchment paper. So that is going to be the center of our circle. So we're going to fold the paper in a circle. So we're going to get out all those origami skills and like snowflake cutting skills that you learned in 2nd grade, and we're going to put them to the test right now. So hold your pointer finger on the point. That is the center. And then we're going to fold this in to create like a cone. It's so easy and cute. We're gonna do it 3 times so that it eventually is really skinny and it looks like a really fancy paper airplane. Now, this is the center still, so we're gonna take our 7-inch metal baking tin and we're gonna put the center in the center of the tin. That looks about right. Now put your thumb there where the edge of it is, and then we're just gonna cut it right there. Now the part that you cut, the small piece, da-da-da-da, a perfect 7-inch circle to line tin. Voila, perfect, the end. I can go home now, the video's over. I'm going to measure my ingredients. So I'm just going ahead with my kitchen scale and putting my bowl that I'm gonna mix it all in on top of it. Now in order to do this, you're gonna click 0 on your scale. Then if it's in pounds, you're gonna need to change it to the metric system. So I'm gonna click on unit. 105 grams of dark brown sugar. So here's my dark brown sugar. And this is so easy, y'all. Because instead of measuring it and packing it down in, I'm just gonna pour it in until it says 105. It's like the easiest thing. I don't know why American recipes don't call for this. I should start a revolution. So 105 grams of dark brown sugar. We're at 34, 35. You would be surprised at like how quickly the grams can add up. Like, whoa, I went way over there. So I'm gonna just measure it, scoop it right back into my thing. 106, oh no, 105, okay, perfect. And then we need 105 grams of soft brown sugar, which to me means light brown sugar. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm just gonna zero it again, because then I can do 105 again, just to make sure. Okay, yeah, 105, perfect. And now I need 2 small free-range eggs. So I measured out my ingredients. It doesn't matter how much the eggs weigh. So I'm just gonna crack those right on in and whisk my eggs with my sugar. So far, so good, right? Beautiful. Whisk together eggs, sugars, and sunflower oil. And it says here that I need 105 grams. Wow, they love the consistency there over there. The sugars were really easy to scoop out back into the container whenever I over measured them. Sunflower oil is not as easy to scoop out and put back into the container, especially after I have the sugar and eggs already in here. So what I'm gonna do, take that off of my scale. I'm going to get a bowl. I don't know how much 105 grams of sunflower oil is, but my guess is it's gonna be less than this amount. I have my container on here. I have pressed 0 again on my scale, and I'm going to open up my sunflower oil. Now this is where this recipe is a little strange to me, but sunflower oil is a very neutral oil, so maybe the queen knows what she's doing. I think it's gonna be nice though. Carrots, sunflowers, it's just really happy, I feel like. So 105 grams of this. Perfect. Okay. Now that I have my oil measured, I am going to pour it into my mixture with my sugar and eggs. My eggs, my sugar, and my oil are all smooth and in this like glorious paste looking thing. So I'm going to set this off to the side and measure my dry ingredients. I need 150 grams of wholemeal flour. Now, if you're watching this in the UK and what I'm about to use is wrong, forgive me now, please forgive me now. I'm not entirely sure what wholemeal flour is, but my guess is that it's like kind of like whole wheat flour. But because I'm not a huge fan of whole wheat flour by itself, I'm using white whole wheat flour. I'm gonna measure 150 grams into my big bowl. I could have guessed that 150 grams of flour was not that much, so I could have used a way smaller bowl, but you never know. So 5 1/4 ounces, yeah, this is like a cup, maybe like a cup and a quarter of white whole wheat flour. And then I'm going to mix in 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of, listen to this, bicarbonate of soda. I think that's baking soda. It might be baking powder, but my guess is that it's this. Let me look at the ingredients on sodium bicarbonate. It's definitely baking soda. So 1/2 teaspoon of this, and then 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg and 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So I'm gonna mix all of those dry ingredients in with this flour and then pour that into my wet batter. It's so standard, it's cake, so easy enough. Got my salt, 1/4 teaspoon of that, 1/2 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. That's a lot of nutmeg. Fun fact, when I was in culinary school, I wrote an entire dissertation, not really, it was just an essay, on nutmeg and the nutmeg trade during the spice trade. Did you know nutmeg used to be the most valuable spice in the whole world? The whole world. Even better than saffron, which is now the most expensive and valued. Anyway, I digress. Yum, set that to the side. It says sift together flour, salt, bicarbonate of soda, and spices and fold it into the egg mixture until all ingredients are combined. Finally, fold through, not even fold in. I love it. Fold through the grated carrots and sour cream. So I haven't grated my carrots yet. 180 grams of carrots grated, and it says 180 grams of carrots, comma, grated, which means that I weigh the whole carrot and then I grate it. If it were to say 180 grams of grated carrots, I would grate the carrots and then measure the amount of the grated carrot. 102 grams. And I need 180 grams. So let's go with a smaller one. This is going to be too much. Oh, 170. Oh, even better. Okay, now this is going to be way too much. I'm going to cut it in half. 195. Here's the fun fact. Here's what I'm going to do. So because I don't want to grate my fingers off, I'm going to say that this is about 180, even though it says 195, to account for the fact that I'm going to leave a little bit of nubs to grate on the carrot. So I will weigh the final amount of carrot again to make sure that it's 180 grams. But just when you're measuring, just make sure that you leave enough for nubs. I also forgot I needed to peel my carrots, which is going to take some of the weight off of them anyway. So peeling these really quick. When it gets too close for comfort for the grating of the carrots, just stop. Don't risk messing up your manicure or taking a finger off. Trust me, I have messed up so many manicures and have bled into my carrots. And I don't want to do that. And I don't want y'all to do it. So just stop. When you feel uncomfortable, stop. You can get more carrots. You can't get another finger. Carrots are cheaper than manicures at Odom. Okay, let's see how much this weighs. 5 grams. So I had 195, so I need 10 more grams of carrots because I'm looking for 180 grams of carrots, and 195 minus 180 is 15. That I just took away 25 grams, so I'm gonna need 10 more grams of carrot. Perfect. Okay. Let's clean this up and then get right back in it. I'm gonna sift my flour into my sugar and egg mixture and then fold it in. I'm gonna fold in my carrots with my dry ingredients and 35 grams of sour cream. 53, wow, this is not a lot of sour cream. Oh! I did it exactly. 45 grams of desiccated coconut. I love the way that they write these ingredients. Oh, this is gonna be a lot of coconut. 45, we're good. Carrots, my measly amount of sour cream. I think it's like a quarter cup, maybe not even that. It's like 2 to 3 tablespoons. And my coconut. This batter is thick! Like thick with 2 C's thick. Like not even a K. Not a lot of batter. We're only putting it in this one pan, which honestly I kind of appreciate. American desserts tend to be just like large and in charge. You know, if sometimes you don't need huge dessert. Sometimes you're just trying to make dessert for 2 people and you just want something small. And so I appreciate this, chef of the Queen of England. I'm going to put this carrot cake in the oven for, I don't know how much time, for 35 minutes or until the cake springs back when touched. In we go. Do you want to say it?
Look at this!
Yay! Look at it, for real. It's good. It did bake for a lot longer than the original time. It said 35 minutes. This was in there for close to 50, which is fine. So I'm gonna let it cool in the pan for about 10-ish minutes on a wire rack, and then I'm gonna invert it and let it cool completely out of the pan on the rack. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. The cake pan is still very hot, a little bit too hot to touch. So easy. So far, I'm excited about this. Like, normal American cake layers are not quite this thick, so I am very pleased by the look of this cake. It looks hefty, but still small enough to like feasibly serve like a smaller crowd. So I'm gonna let it cool for about 30 minutes on the counter at room temp, and then pop it in the fridge to speed up the process for the last amount of time. Now it's time to make the cream cheese icing, and it's the same thing that it was in the beginning part of the recipe. It's all by weight, so we're gonna measure our, what the queen likes to call icing sugar, but it's powdered sugar. We need 50 grams of this. There we go, 50 grams of icing sugar. And we need 50 grams of unsalted butter. We need 110 grams of full fat cream cheese. All of these ingredients are at room temperature. The butter, the cream cheese. 110! I'm not even joking. See? Ingredients are measured. I'm going to put in the cream cheese and the butter into my stand mixer and then sift in my powdered sugar. The recipe says to put in the juice of half of a lemon, and that's like 2 tablespoons. I feel like that's a little bit aggressive for this amount of icing, which is not a lot. So I'm just gonna eyeball it and put in not that much. And that's really it. You just give it a whisk till it's smooth, and then we're ready to rock and roll. Whenever my cake is cool, we can spread this on the top. Beautiful, smooth cream cheese icing that is fit for a queen. Literally, fit for a queen. Do you think the queen would approve of my manicure? If she's watching this, I would love to know if she likes these colors. I got it out of the fridge. It's nice and cool. And now I'm going to put it onto my cake plate. Look at that. Oh my word. It's so cute. I love the size of it. 10 points for the queen for the size of this cake because it is just precious and cute. This is the amount of frosting for this amount of cake. It looks like it could maybe cover the full thing, but the recipe says to just put it on the top. And I think, honestly, that would look cuter, so that's what I'm gonna do. There we have it, folks. The Queen's carrot cake. It's fit enough for the Queen of England. It's good enough for me, I guess. But the point of this video is to put the Queen's cake to the test against our top-rated best ever recipe of all time for carrot cake for Southern Living. So let's go get the cake, shall we? What a beaut this Southern Living carrot cake is. It is one of our top, if not our top recipe of all time. I know that it's so good, but I have to do a side-by-side comparison with the Queen's cake because it's for the Queen. Let's just dig in, shall we? Before I eat it, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the differences between the two cakes. So Queen's cake has carrots and coconut in it, and that's it, with the cream cheese frosting. The Southern Living cake has pineapple, carrots, coconut, and pecans. So pineapple and pecans. The Queen's cake has nutmeg in it and cinnamon. The Southern Living cake does not have nutmeg in it. It's just cinnamon. The Queen's cake is a single layer, not a lot of frosting. The Southern Living cake has 3 layers, or 2 to 3 layers, depending on how many pans you put it in. A lot of frosting, and in between the layers is a buttermilk glaze. Those are the main differences. Here we go, we're gonna try it. Not bad. Not bad at all. These are my thoughts on the Queen's cake. I can taste the nutmeg. It is very nutmeg forward, but I don't hate it. It is very grainy in a good way because it has like the shredded coconut, the shredded carrot. You get a lot of that chew, which is fun and texturally like interesting in your mouth. So 10 points for that for the Queen. Love the tangy cream cheese frosting. I'm very glad I did not put in the full half of a lemon juice because it would have been too tangy. It's perfectly tangy. I kind of love that it doesn't have a ton of frosting on it because I'm not a huge frosting person. Oops. But I do, so it's like, it's a good balance between like frosting and cake. I love the thickness of the layer. I love that it is small and can serve a smaller crowd. I mean, it's really good. But now I'm going in for the creme de la creme, which I know is gonna be just fantastic. The buttermilk glaze, y'all, it really just takes it over the top. Look how I'm singing its praises. Like, my mouth is legit watering. I'm singing its praises before I even bite into it. Okay. Y'all. Okay. I've got to have a talk with the chefs over there at Buckingham Palace because this is the carrot cake that they need to be serving the Queen. I'm telling you, the Queen of England would love the Southern Living carrot cake. If she loves this, she would love this 10 times more. 10 out of 10 for the Southern Living cake. I would give the Queen's cake like a 9 out of 10. It's pretty good. But I'm going back for a second bite of the Southern Living cake. So my completely biased opinion concludes that The Southern Living Best Ever Carrot Cake is better than the Queen of England carrot cake. Sorry, chefs at Buckingham Palace. I would love to give you this recipe. Swipe up for all of you watching at home, even if you're in the UK and you've had tea with the Queen. Check out the Southern Living recipe because it is amazing. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Tell me if you want me to make another dessert for another person of royalty or a famous person, like if it's their famous recipe, I would love to put it to the test against one of the classics. Subscribe, share, like, comment, all the things, you know what to do. I will see y'all next week. Bye, y'all. More cake. Oh, follow me on Instagram at Odom. Cool, bye.